Wait, is that my maid eating from the trash? When millionaire Ethan Ross whispered those words one rainy night, he had no idea that what he was about to witness would change his life forever. Before we dive in, if stories that touch your heart and restore your faith in humanity mean something to you, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and stay till the end because this story will stay with you long after it's over. Ethan Ross was the kind of man everyone envied, a self-made millionaire in his mid-30s. He owned a tech company that had made him richer than he'd ever dreamed. He had a mansion that looked like a palace, expensive cars, and a life most people only saw on screens. But despite all that, Ethan was lonely. He lived in silence, surrounded by luxury but lacking warmth. When his long-time housekeeper retired, a new maid was hired. Maria, a quiet woman in her late 20s. She didn't talk much, always kept her head down, and never complained. She cleaned from sunrise to nightfall, moved silently through the marble halls, and never asked for favors. Ethan barely noticed her at first. To him, she was just another employee, invisible, efficient, and forgettable. One night, Ethan came home late from a business meeting. It was pouring rain, and the mansion was dark except for the faint glow from the kitchen. He thought everyone had gone home, but then he heard something, a faint clatter of a spoon, a soft sob. Curiosity led him to the kitchen, and what he saw stopped him cold. There, sitting on the cold tile floor beside the counter, was Maria. She had a small plastic container in her hands, filled with scraps and leftovers from the dinner he had rejected earlier. She was trembling, trying to eat quietly, afraid to be caught. Ethan froze. For a moment, he couldn't process it. He had always assumed she was fine. She had a job, a salary, a uniform. Why would she be eating leftovers like that? He watched in silence as she quickly hid the food when she noticed him standing there. Her face turned pale. "Sir, I'm sorry. I was just—" she stammered. "I didn't mean to." Ethan's voice was calm, but his heart was racing. "Maria, when was the last time you ate properly?" Her lips trembled. She looked down. "2 days ago," she whispered. "I send most of my pay back home. My little boy is sick. He needs medicine. I didn't want to ask for help." Ethan felt something heavy drop inside him. A mix of guilt and heartbreak. Here he was, throwing away food that could feed a family, while the woman who cleaned his house was starving in silence. That night changed everything. Ethan didn't sleep. Her words echoed in his mind. "My little boy is sick." The next morning, he asked his driver to find out more about her, and what he learned broke his heart even more. Maria lived in a small, crumbling room on the outskirts of the city. Her son, Leo, was only 6 years old and suffered from a severe respiratory condition. The medicine was expensive, far more than what she could afford with her modest pay. Ethan couldn't stop thinking about it. He'd built his company to make life easier for others. But what kind of man ignored the suffering of someone under his own roof? That evening, he asked Maria to sit down, something he'd never done before. She hesitated, afraid she was being fired. Instead, Ethan handed her an envelope. "Your salary tripled," he said quietly. "And I've arranged for your son's treatment. He'll get the care he needs, from the best doctors." Maria's eyes widened, filling with tears. "Sir, I can't accept this. It's too much." Ethan smiled softly. "No, Maria, it's not enough. You've worked so hard and I didn't even see it. I should be the one apologizing." She broke down crying, not out of sadness, but out of sheer relief. For the first time in years, she felt hope. Over the following weeks, Ethan visited Leo at the hospital. The little boy was frail, but his eyes lit up whenever Ethan entered the room. They formed a bond, something like a father and son. Ethan realized that wealth meant nothing if it didn't make a difference in someone's life. Soon after, he started a foundation, the Second Chance Project, dedicated to supporting struggling workers and single parents who quietly sacrificed their own comfort for their families. Maria became one of the foundation's coordinators. Her story inspired thousands. Months later, Ethan hosted a company event. On stage, he told the story, without revealing Maria's name, of the night he found his maid eating leftovers in the dark. He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "That night, I realized that success isn't about what you own, it's about what you give. That woman taught me more about strength and dignity than any business book ever could. The audience applauded. And as he looked out at the crowd, his eyes met Maria's. She stood at the back, holding Leo's hand, smiling proudly through her tears. Sometimes, the people we overlook are the ones carrying the heaviest burdens. A little kindness, a moment of empathy, can change an entire life. So, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder of humanity, and subscribe for more stories that prove compassion is the greatest form of wealth. The richest hearts aren't the ones full of money. They're the ones full of mercy.